Hey guys, and welcome to VFX, the place for newbies, indies, as well as low budgeters. Today guys, we're going to be trying something a little bit different and venturing into the world of 3D inside of HitFilm. Now, disclaimer before we start, I am definitely not as well versed in 3D as I am in other things. I don't know how to use Cinema 4D, I barely know how to use Blender. It is something that I want to look into doing more in the future so that I can teach you guys about it as well. But this is a cool stepping stone and way for me to get into it. Now, this isn't a tutorial, but it is a sort of overview and experiment and breakdown of what I actually did to create that island 3D shot at the start. So here we are in HitFilm. As you can see, I have a whole bunch of stuff going on. And if you basically break down what I've done is I've took a model of an island, I've stuck it in the scene, I've actually overlaid a footage of sort of ocean waves. It's no fluid simulation or anything like that, it's ocean waves. And then I've overlaid some cloud images, some rain assets, things like that, added in some lightning bolts and tied it all together with, a color grade. So if you take a look at these different layers that I have over here, obviously I have the camera, which without the camera nothing actually works because all of these layers are basically 3D except a few 2D textures and things like that. And then I have the grade layer, but we can turn that on for now, or we can leave that off actually for now. So the main asset obviously is this volcano asset over here. Now where I got this asset was from Production Crate, and I used the high poly version. It is a pro asset, which means you do need to have a pro account, although if you do have a free account with Production Crate, you can get this low poly version of that same asset, which is actually really cool. Again, I've talked about Production Crate in the past. It's definitely worthwhile to create a free account. Actually, you know what? Let me address something. Over here, if you can see the different account types, you have the pro account, the enterprise account, and the basic account. Now, the monthly price, as you can see for the basic account, is completely free. And so if you click this one, you can just uncheck this box for donate $10. Although if you do want to support the guys, they're really cool guys and you could support them. But if you just click this, and obviously you can be subscribed to the newsletter, you pay nothing and you get a completely free account. So I don't understand why people keep telling me it's not free. Stop telling me. You just need to read. It's a bit rude, but it's over here. You have VFX access limited, so you get a limited amount of downloads, only 5 downloads per day. And you have 1 team member, but it's free, and you get a lot of assets for free, like for example the low poly island, and that's a full 3D model, completely free. And obviously if you do want to step it up, sign up for the pro account. It's not that expensive, it's only like $4 a month, and you get 50 downloads a day. You access all of their pro assets, 4K assets, high poly 3D models, and they have lots more to offer. But that little plug aside, let's continue to check it out. So I have this island model over here. Now what makes or breaks any 3D model is the lighting. And so I knew I wanted to have a nighttime scene, and the main light coming onto this thing would be essentially the moon. And I also wanted that light to act as a lightning enhancer. So every time lightning struck, I would essentially increase the intensity of that light to light the island up, and afterwards it would just be a silhouette. So the light that I mainly had was this light over here. Now obviously you can't really see, but it's sort of lighting it up just a tiny bit. And if I go in to expand this light and I go into the intensity controls, you can see that it's keyframing to gradually brighten the island up and also brighten it down when the actual lightning strikes. And we'll talk about the lightning in just a bit. On top of the actual island, I do have this ocean asset. If I just zoom out and reposition this, which one is it? It is this one. I have this ocean asset. Now this one is actually very bright on Production Crate, again from Production Crate, but what I did was I added a whole bunch of color effects to it. If we go into the controls panel, we can see that I had all of these effects onto it. So first I darkened it with the exposure effect. I changed the hue. I didn't want it to be so blue because at night things aren't really that colorful. And then obviously finally a curves effect just to darken it down and make it look very moody type of deal. And this is really cool because it's also loopable. It was a bit fast, and so I did slow it down as well. And as you can see here, it starts off once again because it's loopable. And then I did try using some of the rain simulations that are in HitFilm. If I actually go over here, I can show you there is a 3D rain asset here, but it wasn't really looking as good as I wanted, and it was really killing my computer. And so again, went into Production Crate and downloaded a bunch of rain assets, and then just chucked a whole bunch of those in. What I did to these was minimal. all I did was really add some, adjustments like this. I just added a lens blur because I wanted it right up against the screen. I added a hue and saturation to take out some of that color, and a curve to darken it a little bit. And also what I did was I duplicated it multiple times and positioned it horizontally, flipping some of them so that they come at different angles, so it's not just like rain from one side, because obviously in a storm it's chaotic. There's things happening all around the place. Finally, for the night sky, I did add some production crate assets of these storms. Now what I did was to fill in some of these gaps. I actually just took screenshots of these storms that are still, and I made some clouds and positioned them in the background. And these are actually video files of clouds so that they are lighting up and they make it brighter in the background. And so I sort of synced the brightening of these clouds based in that file with the intensity keyframes of the actual light, so that when the clouds light up, the island also lights up a little bit via the light. And then to sync in with that, I finally added some lightning strikes. I think these are from Action VFX as well. These are free assets, I think, from Action VFX. You see, I'm combining a whole bunch of different things. Some of these are pro, some of these are free from Production Crate, and these lightning strikes also, they sync with the brightening of the clouds and the brightening of the light for the island. And on the lightning strikes, if you guys wanted to take a look at this, it's just a couple of glow effects. I've always been a fan of layering glow effects because you can really punch it up. So this one is very close, it's stuck to the actual core of the lightning branch, and then the final glow just brings it out just a little bit more. Compared to adding only one glow effect, you can have a much better overall punch with layering. And then finally, we have a couple of grade layers just to sort of tie all of this together. And the final grade layer has a shake effect on it to also add a little bit of rowdiness, and I pre-composed all of that. And in this composite shot, I added a final grade layer just to darken it a bit. This just consists of a curve, some film grain, levels, and a vignette. When you add things like film grain to your VFX assets, it sort of provides a nice layer on top of everything and ties it all together, which is a valuable tip that I always use. And we have the composite shot, and then we have the camera. Something else that I did was actually keyframe the position, rotation, and scale of the composite shot itself. Now the reason I did that was I wasn't getting the exact look that I wanted from the shake effect, because I was just doing this, and normally in the sea it's sort of like going up and down like that. And so I just thought, what's the easiest cheap way for me to do this? And I just used the rotation effect and keyframed the whole composition to just go like this over a few frames. If you actually look at the frames over here, over a large amount of frames, it just sort of rotates, and then the scale obviously is punched up, and I wanted to have a sort of a zoom effect, and the position changes so that there's no black bars around the sides or empty spaces. And so yeah, that is essentially my entire island shot. I think it came out looking really good for all of the things that we used, essentially using basically only free assets, or you could get away using only free assets. It's a really fun way to play around and test everything that you've learned, and I highly recommend it. Anyway guys, check out Production Crate in the description. Some of the links are affiliate links, which means that you will be supporting the channel if you check them out. Create a free account if you don't want to buy a pro subscription, even though that's really cheap and a good way to get started in the VFX world. I definitely highly recommend it. Lots of free assets, and you can get up to 5 a day. Slowly make your way through the entire catalog. Please subscribe down below if you haven't already. Quite a number of you are not subscribed, which I really don't understand, because we make really cool content all the time. Subscribe, like, share with your mates, tell them about this cool new resource and free assets and ways of doing things, and I will see you guys in the next one.